Yo, what's good, guys? It's Decrypt back with another video. I know y'all been waiting on this. I'm about to show you guys how I keep a 90% plus win rate trading stock options. And I know you guys are thinking, how is that even possible? Trust me, this is gonna work for you guys. It works for everyone. It's the simplest way to trade. I don't use no Fibonacci, no RSI, no MACD, none of that. So I'm about to get into it. I'm gonna show you guys. And what we're gonna learn today is supply and demand. So let's get right into it. But first things first, what is supply and demand? Supply is heavy selling, demand is heavy buying. So when you're looking at the charts, you want to look for heavy selling and heavy buying, and I'm about to show you guys how to locate that. I'm about to show you guys how to recognize that and mark it down so that way you can take a trade, how you would take a trade off of it, set your risk to reward, and risk management. So let's take a look at the chart. So currently we're looking at the SPY 15-minute chart, which is what I use to set my supply and demand when I'm trading intraday. So here we go. All right, so first things first, let's recognize what is and what isn't supply and demand. All right, so when you see a bunch of choppy action like this, here on Monday, October 17th, we had a bunch of choppy action. That is not supply nor demand. So when we're looking for heavy selling or buying, you don't see any heavy selling or buying. You might see one large candle, but there's no move after that. So there's no supply or demand there. First, let's recognize demand. So demand, you can see it here. You see a large move to the upside. That is demand. So, only big money can, make moves in the market like that. We as retail traders do not have enough money to move the market like that. So when you recognize demand, mark it down, and then I'm gonna show you guys how to take a trade off of it, and then I'll go into supply. So here, how would I mark my demand zone? So what I like to do is I like to go off the candle that started the move, right? So the true definition of demand on a chart would be a rally base rally. So here we have a small rally, on Thursday, October 13th, we had a small rally, and then we based out, so we pumped up, we consolidated, and then we have a big move that followed afterward. That would be your rally base rally. So if we're looking to mark the candle that started the big move, we're gonna go off this candle here because we had our rally, our base, and then we rallied. But this was the larger move. So I'm gonna mark the first 15-minute candle that started that move. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark this candle here. Boom. And I know these moves already happened, but this just goes to show how accurate this can be. Then I'll give you guys an example that I gave my members real time this last Friday. That it just goes to show that when you recognize supply and demand, take it, go crazy. Now that we have our demand marked, just because you missed the move doesn't mean that you missed the trade. You should never focus on making money. The main focus is making sure that you're taking the right trades. You can see the market pump, you get in, and it goes against you, and you're wondering why. Oh, what happened? It's because you don't know what you're doing. You're just hopping in at random times. You're following the market. You're chasing things, and then you get screwed over, and you wonder what happened. So you don't have no set plan. You don't have no strategy. You're just jumping in the market, and you're losing money constantly. So I'm gonna show you guys how you would use this demand zone to take the trade. So if you recognize demand, you know that there is big money in the market. So all you gotta do is wait for price to come down and retest that demand zone. So if I were to enter my trade here and I set my stop loss very minimally, boom, knowing that there's a high chance that we're gonna bounce off this demand zone. Look how small my risk is compared to my reward, just knowing that there is demand there. So if I were to take the trade, the second we touch that demand zone, I could anticipate a bounce. If we fall below it, that demand zone is not valid. You get stopped out at a very minimal loss. But look at my reward. In this case, market closed right on demand. Next day we gapped up. Boom. That is how you mark your demand. I'm telling you guys, it's super, super simple. Don't overthink it. Recognize supply and demand, and then boom, you're chilling. But now, we got to figure out how to mark supply. Well, it's literally the opposite of demand. So same thing as demand, but the opposite way. Supply, is going to be a drop base drop. So demand is a rally base rally. Supply is a drop base drop. So here we have a drop, we have our base, and then we have our drop. So I'm gonna go off the candle that started the large move, which is this candle right here, and I'm gonna mark my supply zone. So boom, like so. Let me actually replay this so that way you guys can, get the gist of how it's gonna work. So usually I like to set my supply and demand zones on the 15-minute, and then I'll zoom in on the 5-minute so I could get a better entry, because the 15-minute candles, they take a little longer to form, and you can catch the reversal move on the 5-minute. So boom, I recognize supply, I mark my supply zone, and all I gotta do now is wait on the 5-minute for a retest on this supply zone. The second we hit the supply zone, I'm looking to take a trade. So I'm gonna set my risk to reward. The second we hit that demand zone, I'm in my trade, and then I'll set my take profit to the previous support down here, or previous resistance, now support. And boom, that's the trade I'm willing to take. So now all I got to do is wait for the 5-minute to retest on my supply zone, and then I enter my trade. So if I zoom in on the 5-minute now, and I just wait for price to hit my supply zone, this is what we're looking for. So I'm not entering any type of trade until, price hits my supply zone. So right now we're just being patient. Boom, boom, boom. Hasn't hit my supply zone yet. Boom. It just hit my supply zone. This is where I enter my trade, right? And what I'm looking for when I get stopped out is a 5-minute candle close above my stop loss. Unless I get a 5-minute candle close above my stop loss, I stay in my trade. There's no reason for me to get out my trade. We're still selling off. We are just now retesting the supply zone. So I'm going to let this play out, and then we're going to see what happens. So boom, we hit the supply zone. We don't get a 5-minute candle close above, so I'm still in my trade. We're just consolidating there, and then boom, we end up selling off, and it hits my take profit level down to the previous resistance, now support. This just goes to show how easy it is to find your supply and demand and how to set your trade based off of that. And supply and demand is literally just following what big money does. If you wait for the big pump, all you got to do is wait on the retracement, hop in on demand, boom, you take your trade. Successful. If you see supply, you see heavy selling, you just wait on the retracement, wait for it to hit your supply, boom, you hop in your trade, successful. And then if you get stopped out, no worries, this is how you would play it out. So say that price actually breaks above my stop loss and I get stopped out, I take a small loss, boom, what do I do now? So if you get stopped out, all you got to do is the same exact thing. So say a 5-minute candle closes above my stop loss. What do I do? Price isn't, reacting to your supply zone. It's no longer valid. This is what you would do. If price ended up breaking above my stop loss, I would just wait on the retracement, and then I would get in to play the upside. But yeah, guys, supply and demand is not hard to learn. Supply and demand is super easy, and hopefully this video makes things so much more simple. I promise you guys this is the way to go. But guys, that's it from me. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Drop a like for me, subscribe, Decrypt. I'm out.